Welcome back to Switch to Linux. It is Monday and it is time for another Linux Top 5. And today I'm going to talk about the top 5 reasons why you might want to use Debian. Now, I've been using Debian on this computer for longer than I kind of wanted to. I like jumping distros every month or so just to get my feet wet in different environments, different distributions, different methods of doing things. And I've been on this one for a long time. So we're going to go ahead and just have a look at this Debian desktop. Then I'm going to talk about the top reasons why you might want to use Debian. Now, this is not one I always recommend for a new user because it can be a little bit more complicated to set up. But nevertheless, it is definitely one of my always top picked distros. So of course I'm running Debian with Cinnamon. You can see my theming here is pretty nice. I have just kind of my setups. I have my Firefox for my basic stuff, my Chromium for YouTube. I use a combination of Thunderbird and Evolution for email applications depending on the purpose. There's GIMP and a few other applications that I use on a regular basis. So I have this set up very nice. Anytime I'm in Debian, it's just such a good good system that I just don't ever really want to leave it. But behold, I am going to leave by Debian. But before we do, I'm going to talk about the top 5 reasons why you might want to consider using Debian. Number 5, it is a parent distro. What do we mean by this? Well, in the world of Linux, a good thing about Linux is there are a lot of choices and a lot of options. The bad thing about Linux is there are many times too many choices and too many options. What really is the difference between distro A and distro B? Sometimes there's a little bit more under the hood as far as differences. Sometimes those differences are not quite as pronounced as you may think. And the thing is that distros get built on distros. Of course, Debian is the distro which Ubuntu is based on, and then Ubuntu is end up based on just tons of different distros, including my favorite, which is Linux Mint, is an Ubuntu-derived distro. So Linux Mint is a grandchild of Debian. Now, the good thing is that, and we'll get to this a little bit more in my number 3, but any resource that will help you with Debian would generally help you with anything downstream of Debian. We'll get to that more later, but Debian itself is one of the core branch families in the Linux world. It's also one of the oldest active Linux distros in the Linux world, actively being produced, and we'll get into some of the other reasons why later. But that is my number 5. It is a parent distro, which basically means it's not full of a lot of manipulation, a lot of crap, a lot of other things that some other distros may indeed have. Number 4. In the Linux world, there's a debate about, do you want to use exclusively free drivers, free components, or do you want to use non-free? What that means is there's 2 expressions, and I don't necessarily care for the expression that's always getting used around, but the best explanation, free as in it doesn't cost you anything, and free as in you can do with it what you want. It basically is the difference between, can we audit what is in the source code and make adjustments to it, or is it locked down and we have to rely on somebody else to produce it? Most of the Linux world cares more about your free devices. So you can see, you can audit, you can source code. That's very important, and some families will focus only on the free things. Debian leans free, but also makes it easy to enable and install non-free sources as well. And that is a huge thing because some graphics, some devices, some things need a non-free driver in order to get the most out of your machine. One of the 2 biggest ones in the world of 2018 is NVIDIA graphics drivers and Broadcom modems or Wi-Fi cards. Those 2 things generally don't work well under your free systems. And with that being said, it is kind of important that we can figure out how we can enable the non-free things if the free things are not working. In Debian, it's actually quite easy. You just need to boot up a terminal and access your apt. This is the etc apt sources.list, and I have a video about how to do all this. And you just need to add contrib and non-free to the end of each of these lines And then there's one other script that I have in a video I'll post here. Reset the system, and then now your system is set up to use your non-free drivers and other components. Very easy to do. They don't make it hard to do this, like some distros make it actually hard to pull that off, but they don't necessarily ship with it. However, there is a community submission on the Debian website where you can get this already enabled. So you can actually install Debian with this enabled. It's not part of the official, but it is available to find on their website. Number 3. Easy to find a lot of online information. Head over to any forum, any search engine, type in your problem with the word Debian in it. You're going to find a lot of solutions. And those solutions have not been broken over time. They will continue to work. Now, there might be some little differences here and there. For me, there's an audio issue that showed up that will impact the system on some applications. I was able to find that pretty quickly just by doing a search for it. Just anything else. In addition to that, you'll always find drivers. For example, Brother printers will have drivers for a Debian-based system. Any Debian-based distribution, those drivers and things will work for. Any of that kind of stuff. So Debian is a great system in that there's a lot of online resources. The community is very solid. It has a 20-year or so track record of solving problems and having a lot of online solutions. So the online help is just fabulous for the Debian world. Number 2, the vast array of desktop environments available. Now, they don't have every desktop environment, but for sure, if you want to download, if you want a stable system with a lot of online documentation and a variety of choices of desktop environments, Debian is a great choice. So here is if you just go on to grab just the live keys. We have our Cinnamon, we have GNOME or GNOME, we have KDE, LXDE, we have Mate, and yes, that is the correct pronunciation of Mate. We have XFCE, and I believe there may be a few more out there as well, but those ones there will cover most of what you want. You also have the ability of grabbing a net installer, which will enable you to install, grab the smallest download size available, and then you can install any or all desktop environments at the time of the installation. So the net installation is a very good tool as well. You also, though, have the ability to buy a set of them. So if you don't have a good internet connection, buying this set of CDs or DVDs gets you literally everything. All right, which is several gigabytes of data. You can actually download the complete installation image, which is quite large. So you can get this. This is kind of the old way that Linux distros were installed. You'd send away for the copy of the CD, and then if you want to install something, you need to plug in that CD or the appropriate CD or DVD, get something installed. So that is, they still have that method. You can also rely on the internet for things. They have a lot of these different resources, and they have a lot of desktop environments available. Before we move on to our number 1, I want to thank you for watching this video. You can help support us by checking out SwitchedtoLinux.com/support for all of the ways to help support us. I also have my own website, support portal website, which actually encompasses all 3 of my channels, which is at thinklifemedia.com, and you can find links for all these down below. You can pick up something like a coffee cup or a mouse pad or other things like that at shop.switchedtolinux.com, and check me out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Tom M. Number 1 reason to use Debian, stability. If you are looking for a stable distro that's not just going to stop working one day in response to a little update, you want to move with Debian. This is important because the Arch community moves very fast, always gets the latest packages, is constantly rolling, which means there are chances you go to turn on your computer, an update occurs, and your system stops working. We need the people using that type of stuff because they often give us the best and the fastest solutions for things. Very good reasons. However, there are also a broad range of people, myself is in this camp, that I need to have a good, stable system because I use these systems. My job isn't to tinker with these systems. My job is to get production done. And when your job is to get production done, you have to know your computer is going to work every time you turn it on. And so with that, Debian is the best system because it does move slowly. It means you don't always get the latest of the packages. However, what you do get with Debian is you get a rock solid system that's not just going to crash out on you at some point in time. That's really the important part and why I use Debian and Debian-based distros more often than any other distributions is the sheer stability. So I hope that you like this video. Let me know why you like using Debian or your other favorite Linux distros in the comments down below. And thank you for watching and hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.